I have a huge music problem. I I often wish I would have been a music producer because I I have friends that like music, but I have one friend, my friend Justin Abbott, who my friend Trent Abbott works for Haggerty. His brother Justin is a car collector, and he's the only person I know. And my friend John Nikas is into music and loves music, but Justin is he's the only friend of mine in the hot car hobby that's this way. He and my friend Nick Smith, who used to work for Bonhams and now runs a company called Classic Avenue. Shout out to Classic Avenue. Hey, Nick. But he started Bonham's motorcycle auctions. But he's a British expat. But he was a record producer too, so this is why. We're the three guys we know in the car hobby that if the right song's on the radio, even if we're late to where we're going in the car, you wait till the song's done. You don't turn it off. It's a crime against nature. And sometimes music you can listen to and talk through it, but more times than not, shut up, music's on. So if we're in the car and conversing, the radio doesn't go on. Otherwise, we won't do it. I love music. The only thing I get I worked in Hollywood for 6-7 years. And I never got starry-eyed over Hollywood. It was my work. But I still get goofball-y, and I get some really good access to events and things just because of other people and friends in the car hobby. I still get goofy over rock stars. I mean, I'm like, wow, you're my hero. I went to see The about 2 years ago before COVID and got backstage and the whole thing through my friend James Eller, and who's their bass player. And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. You're one of my favorite bands on the planet. I'm like a 10-year-old, I'm like a 13-year-old girl in 1987. I swear to God, going ah, and it just.
You never crossed the line to groupie though.
No, not at all. But I mean, I just music just does something else to me. It takes me someplace else.
Tell me a song that when you're in the car and you're late, and it's a crime against nature, a crime against humanity if you leave the car before the song's over. What song defines that for you?
Oh my God, there's lots. There's one by the Smiths called "How Soon Is Now." If "How Soon Is Now" by the Smiths is on the radio, it cannot be turned off. And my wife goes crazy. I'm like, no, and we'll be going to the supermarket. And I'll hear it'll be halfway through. I said, stop it, no. And I'll sit in the car. She'll be unloading groceries, mad at me because I'm listening to the rest of the song, which I have in like 3 different formats at home: vinyl and CD and everything else. And another one is one of my all-time favorite bands, Love and Rockets, which is a offshoot of Bauhaus, which is the original goth band. Daniel Ass, David J, and Kevin Haskins band have this song called "The Seventh Dream in Teenage Heaven," which is the title track to their first album in '88, which I saw on tour in '88. There's something about that song that's like the spookiest, scariest, most extraordinary piece of music I've ever heard, and it doesn't go off, and you don't talk. Like Nick and I were in a car, and somebody was with us, and they came on, and I said, I said like this, and they said, whoa, and Nick turned around and goes, mate, just shut up, because he gets it too, and but it's just the music. Music takes me someplace else. It evokes feelings more than normal people. And it's weird. I don't know why. My parents could care less. They like show tunes, and my mom is horribly addicted to Neil Diamond, which I just cannot, which I find unlistenable. And
but the Seventh Dream. Yeah, you're saying if it comes on the radio.
Yeah.
Is this what station? What? This isn't. When do you hear this on
XM.
Okay.
80 First Wave. Sometimes it's on Alternative Nation. It's often on First Wave does Dark Wave on Sunday nights, which all this more gothy, deeper, sketchier stuff. Third music is first song is Walking on Mount Moon by the Police. There was something I have a memory of when I first heard that song, what I was doing, who I was with, and it brings me back there immediately. Every smell, sight, feeling is there, and it's just perfect. And I also play bass, so all those things have a bass component too. And but that is just like I love music. I love music like a musician loves music. I think a friend of mine's a couple of my friends of mine are professional bass players, and they're like, "Oh, you've got it. You're like that dorky guy. You're like us, but you just aren't a professional. I said, if I could swap careers, give up cars, and work in the music industry, be completely okay.
Got it. So,
and never mess with this stuff ever again.
My taste is different, but I'm writing down your taste. I'm going to listen to these. But to me, like if American Woman comes on.
Okay, yeah, it's a great song. You don't turn the goddamn radio off, right?
That's one that you right
or Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. You cannot turn it off. It's illegal. And it's like 11 minutes long. So get ready to wait.
Radar Love.
Radar Love. Yep. Led Zeppelin's Rain Song Live from Song Remains the Same is just brilliant. And the studio track sucks, but the live track on Song Remains the Same is so good. And Jimmy Page was never better in any other song ever. But yeah, those are verboten. You don't turn them off the radio. A lot of Bowie, like so much Bowie, Heroes, Fame, Heroes especially. That's another song that is like of my sacred songs that I just love.
So it's Andy Reid in music. Who knew?
Yeah, I love it. Again, I junk all these books and then give them to some museum, and I'd work in the music industry like this. Though I don't know if I want to do it now because it's very different. But I think I could have been behind a soundboard and done some good stuff. I've played with a little bit with friends who are musicians, and I've got the knack for it.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.